Welcome to Advice from the Deal Room. We have myself here, Ben Record, and Matt Russell, and Lydia Hester. We are all part of the AI financial team, and we are going to share a little bit more today about what the loan process looks like from the pre and post close and everything in between. Where do we want to take it from here, guys? What do we want to start with?
Let's first introduce Lydia. Lydia's been on our team for going on 8 months now, almost 9 months. But Lydia brings a wealth of knowledge with 30 plus years in the banking industry and on the processing the back end of deals. So it'd be great to, introduce yourself, Lydia. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Thank you, Matt. My name is Lydia Hester. I have 36 years in banking. Most of those are in the commercial lending, but I've been, working in a credit union at 18 years old. You get to work your way through the different departments and branches. And so I've got a lot of the frontline experience as well as the lending. Once I got into lending, I loved it. And it's specifically commercial. Just I like the free flow of commercial lending versus residential mortgage.
Perfect. And Lydia's been a great asset to the team. So let's just dive right into it. We want to learn a little bit more about the processing part, the part that nobody wants to talk about. Most people think the hard part is getting a lender interested, getting to that point where lender's like, yeah, we want to move forward. But Ben, what's the part that nobody warned you about?
It's kind of that start, the whole section in between from like, cool, I want to do this loan, and cool, I found a lender. But then now what? Like the whole closing process can be a lot more than people think it is. There's underwriting, there's document collection, there's waiting for appraisals, there's answering questions on appraisals, there's back and forth with the lender on their loan terms as they've gone through approvals and things like that. Sometimes their initial approvals a little bit different than the initial LOI. There's a lot that goes into it, and I feel like everyone thinks it's just finding the lender, but there's a lot that we do. And Lydia, you can speak to that a lot of you do so much for our clients after we've already gotten a lender, from filling out their paperwork, all of that type of stuff.
So,
Yes.
so yeah, explain to us about what kind of when the rubber hits the road. What I say is, cool, we got the loan place. That's hate to say not the easy parts. It's because we got to align the client with the right lender, the situation they're going through. But now comes some of the work behind the scenes. It's always that's where most businesses where the magic happens, right? Is behind the scenes, not the front glorious stuff. It's behind the scenes. So Lydia, when a deal gets placed, what's the first thing that happens on your end?
The first thing is building the lender file. So just making sure that we have all of their financials up to date. And we kind of we ask for things in the very beginning. I think the biggest thing is open communication, just making sure that our borrower is open. When we need something, get it to us as quickly as they can. But you try to gather all of that prior to, just making sure we've got the bank statements, the driver's license, a resume, but all those items help us, depending on what type of loan it is, they're documents that need to be completed. So that's where the brokerage is a benefit to the lender or to the borrower, is because we can complete those documents. We can assist you with filling those out. A bank can't do that. They're not allowed to complete a personal financial statement for their customer. We can, and we can complete that and save the borrower tons of time.
So true. So true.
Huge.
Yeah, there's so much paperwork behind the scenes that we're able to complete, and Lydia is one of those people that takes all the information that we gather up front, which is we gather the kitchen sink, as I call it. I'm like, grab the whole kitchen sink. What do we need here on this deal? And that goes from, as Lydia's mentioned, driver's license, the resumes. People are like, why do I need a resume? It depends on the loan type we're filling out. They want to know their borrower. Insurance contact information, so Lydia can be on the forefront of working with the insurance agent down the road. we're gathering a lot of this information, so it makes the processing faster for both sides. We're trying to make the lender's job easier and the borrower's job easier. As Lydia's mentioned, she gathers all that initial stuff. This comes on the business entity documents and everything like that to be able to send to the lender for them to really, for the lender then create their list off of what do they still need that wasn't in our initial request list. And sometimes it's their paperwork that they need completed. And that's where I can think Lydia comes in, is that's where she tries to help through the process for the clients. Name some things you've done, you kind of complete for clients. I mean, we can go from any different loan type. What documents are you helping assist complete for clients, Lydia?
Some institutions require their personal financial statement completed. So I will take what information our client has given us, and I can fill out their full financial statement, from their financials, their deposit accounts, the real estate. I can answer all those questions for them.
That's so helpful. I think especially with like just keeping everything clean and organized. So often they'll give us information and they don't give it to us in like an organized manner. They'll just kind of like dump it to us in emails, and like they'll send one tax return and then a bunch of other things and then a tax return in a different email. And you do such a good job of, one, for us internally, keeping that organized, renaming files, things like that, but also making sure the lender, when they review our list, actually understands what they have there. Because there's times where like a lender would ask for something before you would come, and we'd say, I felt like we already sent that to them. But then now that you've been part of the team, I don't feel like that ever happens. If we have something already, the lender knows that we have it, and there's no back and forth with them. If we don't have it, we know when to get it, and you can help with that.
And I think my previous experience with Frontline, with entity documents, I understand when they're asking for specific entity documents, and just making sure that we have those. And if a template needs to be completed, then we've got those as well, which is huge. On the bank side, you can't do that. But if you have a client who's just forming a real estate holding company, we can assist them with that. And as far as, get an EIN, this is what you need to look for. This is the email you're going to get. Just really being able to hold their hand through all of that, that's huge. Instead of just being the lender saying, get me this, we understand how to get it, and we can assist them. So I think that's really a big part of helping get it through.
That white glove service.
A couple of things that I think you do that's value add that most people don't think about is the insurance and the title reports. You know how to read a title report. You've been a processor for commercial lending on their side. You know what they want to clear off of a title, how to assist in that, and also getting the insurance perfected the way it's supposed to be for the lenders. Talk through, your experience doing that with us, but prior to us, and how that's a value add back to the clients.
Yes. So I like to review the title commitment as soon as we get it, just to make sure that there's no hidden liens on there, or getting the conversation, because the lender, they order the title, but they're not at that moment, they're still ordering the appraisal. Well, we already know our borrower it's a good deal because we've already vetted it. So I can already start the conversation. We need to get a payoff. Let's, if it's an escrow company, or just getting that flowing so that we know that at the time of closing, there's no questions. We've already got it. The biggest thing on the lending is the questionnaire. Well, I can assist with that. I can, I go through those questions and know whether or not there's something that our loan officer might need to ask some more questions about it. Just those kind of things that we can assist. And then working with if it's the realtor that we're working with and we needing documents from the seller, just having that open communication, we can do that for you. The lending side, they just don't, that's just something that they can't do. So I just think that we make transactions, we can push it through the end because of us just being detailed oriented and making sure we understand the deals. We understand it. So,
well, and to go off of that, I think what you're saying there is so true of that we really are able to come alongside them in the transaction, where a lot of times lenders are like on the other side of the table, telling them what they need, telling them what they have to do to meet the requirements. We come on their side of the table and we help them figure out how to reach those goals or finish those tasks or whatever they have to do. We help them do that rather than it being us telling them to do it. And it changes the whole relationship of it. We're here to be your advisor. We're here to be on your team and to make your life easier. We have an internal processor. We underwrite your deal. We shop it with the lender. We push back on so much that goes above and beyond just brokering a loan. Cool, we got them a loan, but we want to make it be a successful loan. We want them to feel good about it and to not have tons of questions about something that they already provided the answers to. If they gave it to us, we should be able to pass that on to the lender.
Something unique that we also do, that Lydia is the one who processes it all, is post-closing. When there's a construction loan, we handle the construction draw process because we understand what the lender's process is, and we can take the information from the client. And Lydia, when you're doing that, how do you go about doing that? And how have you seen that a value add back to people?
yes. So we ask our clients, we like to be the middle person. So we get their invoices, we organize them, they're all labeled, numbered, and we make sure that that matches, their invoices match the cost breakdown, so that we've already done all the work basically for the bank, but also for us, we're doing that for our client as well. So no questions come up. We already know if a line item is over budget, that then we can ask those questions. Why is this invoice higher than what was originally expected? And we can kind of assist with moving those numbers around when we need to. But and then also down the road, having that documentation later, that's very helpful as well.
I think we had an experience recently, Lydia, where the contractor was submitting stuff directly to the lender, and that sent that sideways on that draw request because they didn't have it organized. They were changing their minds, oh, well, no, we need to add this. Well, you can't just continue to change in the middle of a draw request. There's a process that a bank has to follow. And now you're going outside of that process. And, how was your experience with that? I mean,
it was a good conversation, actually, and which I can have that conversation between the contractor, because I've worked with the contractor gathering items prior to the loan closing, and then with the borrower also making sure that they're reassured that yes, we are reviewing this, we're making sure that the line items balance. But it was a good conversation, but it's something that I think if I was on the other side, that would be nice to have a full package given to me and not just unlabeled invoices. And then the processor at the lending side is the one that has to put that together. So I think we save a lot of time putting a full packet together when the requests go in.
Well, and you make the contractor's life so much easier because they're going to actually get their draw and they're actually going to get their money on time and for the right things and of the right amount. When, I don't know, I've seen it so many times where they try to handle it themselves and then the draw doesn't get approved or it's not the right amount or then there's too many funds released or something. And it's it just can make such a mess unless we can get our hands on it and help keep it going forward.
I had a client go sideways once. Their first loan, this is a multi-phase project, and we helped them do some of the draw. And the next lender, we can do it ourselves. They made that lender so mad during the draw process that we had to come back in after multiple draws to help clean it up and get it organized and get that project finished. But that lender did not want to work with our client again because of the disorganization during the draw process and not fulfilling what was required by the lender. And those little things can obviously derail where they didn't want to work. That lender did not want to work with that client again because of the draw process, not because of was a bad deal wasn't successful. It was because it did not go the way they expected it to go. Because this is a contract owner builder and they thought they could handle themselves and saw it go sideways, and that really hurt that relationship going forward. And that's we're here to help them be long term, not the short term, that's where they
Mhm.
missed on that. You know,
We have a draw construction loan that we're working with right now where the our the client, the loan is under one business name, but they wanted this particular draw to be in another business name. That's the account that they needed deposited into. So I was able to contact the bank, explain to them, what do we need to do? This is what they want. What can I do to help assist with getting it into the right name? This draw needs to be in a different business name. And that worked out really well. Banks need to know that we're not going to badmouth the bank. We're going to talk them up because we want that relationship. And I had to reassure the banker that, I totally agree. They should have all their accounts with them, but for whatever reason, right, to get this draw, they need it this certain way. So how can we make that happen? And then going forward, I agree. They need to bring their stuff to you, and let's work together at doing that, getting this client completely over to that bank. So I think that helped. So nobody was, if the banker was frustrated, they were frustrated with me, but our client and their customer didn't see that.
That's huge.
perfect. So when we're in the middle of a deal, it's being placed. Now we're going back into the middle of the deal after the post closing of some of the things we do. What do you see as like the top three things that slows down a loan after it's been with a lender's underwrite it? They got our full package, they like the deal, they want to move forward. Lydia, what do you see the like top three things that slows down a deal?
Updated financials, business, maybe it's year to date. The insurance is a huge thing right now.
Really bad right now.
Yeah,
And I think that our clients, it's okay that they're going on vacation or they have a trip scheduled, but just tell us in the beginning when that's going to hit so that we can make sure that no signing is going to happen during that time. Will help, but if you're going to be gone when a real estate purchase, trying to get that purchase and sales agreement extended, it'd be better to know that before.
Especially leading towards the holiday months. Especially because no one expects a deal to take as long as it can during those few months leading up to Christmas, but it generally takes longer than we all want. And you plan those trips, that's great. You got to fill us in so that we can plan accordingly.
There's just weird stuff that happens, right? Ice storm and nobody can get out. There's those one-off. I did have somebody who had cows get out and they missed their signing. That was my first. But just keeping us in the loop will help mitigate whatever we need to.
I think you're hitting on is communication back with the borrower, understanding everything. Like I said before, we're like your therapist, your bartender. Tell us like deep dark secrets. So that helps the middle part of a transaction where it kind of gets a little slow for the client. They don't know what's going on sometimes. One thing that we do is we handle so much here that I try to tell the client, if you're not hearing from us, it's because things are just going smooth, right? Like everything that the lender asks for, we are providing. Like we do things that the client does not know about, and that's One thing that they don't realize is some clients don't realize commercial is way different than residential, where
Way different.
there's just a lull time. Like underwriting is not a few days. It takes some time. It takes to get through the queue. Appraisals take longer. Process is longer. So sometimes there's just some downtime in the middle of a transaction. But, I think where our process around that is just keeping everybody in line and making sure that all of our deadlines are being hit. I mean, that's where somebody is that point of contact, that one person that goes, okay, I know all these dates and all these things. Let me go through the checklist. Let me go through our calendar, make sure all those dates are being hit.
Yeah, and then we're reaching out to the lender. Where are we at? Why hasn't the appraisal come in yet? How long does it take you to go through your review process? Are you going to require an environmental? Those kind of things, just making sure that we're checking with them, but then also that way we've got it in our checklist that we're following up when those are going to be completed.
Yeah,
Exactly.
it's surprisingly how many lenders go, oh yeah, you're right, I do need to order that. You're like, yeah, you probably should, like, are you doing an
And maybe we could have
environmental?
done it a week ago if we had gotten work done with
Right.
them. It's one of
So
those things.
having that team that's been through it on the bank side, the lender side of things, knowing, okay, why are they not requesting this? Should we get them this anyways? Oh yeah, I don't need that yet, but we got to get it to them earlier so it doesn't slow it down later on in the process is what we're trying to really do. Speeding things up, why do our deals feel faster once placed, Lydia? Like when we get something out, like I hear it all the time from our lenders. Wow, you gave us everything. I don't really need much. I mean, I have an email we can go back. I read it verbatim from a lender. He goes, "It's probably the cleanest package I've ever got from anybody."
That's a
You know,
goal.
how do we do that better? How are we doing that different, than other people out there, Lydia? What
Mm-hmm.
separates us?
Well, I think from our underwriting, they're asking the questions. When Jay is amazing at, he understands deals. So he's asking those questions while he's doing the underwriting. And then also our loan officers, you guys have been through these time and time again. That's huge. You guys have touched some of these same type of loans that maybe some lenders only get a few a year. So I think you guys know what questions to ask. You're gathering those, like the tough ones, the convenience stores, the gas stations, those kind of things. Or even in a construction, you're already asking those questions. You're getting the budgets and you want the contracts, those kind of things. I think just really know that you're going to ask a lot of questions. You're going to request a lot of stuff up front, but that really does help. We already have it. When it's asked for, we've already provided it to the lenders. I think that's huge.
Well, and I think goes into beyond just a single transaction because we are so thorough for a transaction, collecting clients' information. I don't know how many times I've had clients reach out after a transaction, say, "Hey, can you send me this stuff? I know you have my financials. I need them for a home loan I'm working on or something." Like that's
Mm-hmm.
what we want to be is we can be that resource that not only did we help you get a loan, but you can see us as a resource for having your information nice and organized for you. And that's
Mm-hmm.
helpful for the lender, that's helpful for our underwriting, and that's helpful for our clients. Even goes into a little bit of like every commercial loan has some annual covenants and requirements for reporting you got to do every year. And we're always big on offering to help with that. We can't prepare your financials for you, but we can go through them and make sure that it's put in the right format for the lender, kind of setting themselves up for success so that it's not just a relationship that is one transaction and we're done. Our goal is to do a lot of transactions with the relationship that we have with you.
Yes, you're exactly right. We do due diligence for the lender, which has got to be huge for the client, that we can reach out to an accountant and get the tax returns or those kind of things. That's got to be huge. Or insurance. We have some of our lenders that will come to us after the loan's been closed and say, hey, we need updated insurance. which is wonderful because that is just one added service that we can assist our client in getting those kind of things. They don't have to be bothered with it. We can take care of that for them. That's
I love it.
huge. But, and then even like you said, like we've got copies of the appraisal or the environmental, you know, I'm sure on a lot of your construction loans that you've done where we will turn it into a permanent loan for them. We already have everything. And those ones that we do the second time, which we've had several of those this last month, just so simple because we already have everything. We can complete any document that they throw at us because we've already done one loan for them. You know, that's got to be a nice relief for our clients, and especially those that like to purchase, you know, investment property where we already got everything.
As one of the salespeople, that's my biggest thing that I sell new clients on is that, like, cool, give me a shot. It's not going to charge you anything up front. I'm not going to charge you if I can't get you a loan. And even if this project isn't what you end up wanting to do, if I've collected a lot of your information, your next request, the next thing you want me to investigate for you, all can go so much faster because we're going to keep all of that on file. We're going to keep it organized and we're going to be able to give you our opinion on it next time. So, like, it's it's a big sales point. And I feel like when clients have come back for that second one, they finally realize, oh, I'm saving so much time now.
Having processing in my background, being able to review unsigned documents, we have come across where we knew that the borrower put money down with the lender and just making sure that those are credited on the disbursement. So those are things as well that I think we assist our clients with that is
Nothing
helpful.
slips through the cracks.
Yes. Yeah.
If you had to explain your job, Lydia, in one sentence to a client, what would it be? How would you explain what you do to a client?
One sentence, support. I am your support bunny friend.
Bunny. I like it because you are going. You know, Bunny is full of energy. The
Little
Energizer
Energizer Bunny
Bunny.
over there. Yeah.
You know,
I enjoy that we can, you know, like I tell you, I'm not gonna put up that we're closed today because the customers that I talk to, we're always here for them, you know, and I see that with both of you. We're always here. So it doesn't matter night, weekend, holiday, they need something. We have access to that, which is, I think, that's got to be reassuring for them.
Oh yeah, I love it when my clients call me on the banker holidays and they're always surprised to answer my phone. I'm like, just because the bankers aren't working doesn't mean I'm not working. I'll take your phone calls, see how I can help. I may not be able to talk with a lender today, but I can work on your package. I can collect documents. We can do a lot even when the lenders aren't working. So we're here to help year round, day round. And I've had calls at 4 a.m. and had calls at 2 a.m. So we do what we can for our clients.
you know, I think what the processing part is like, again, it's the unfun, it's the unsexy part of a process, but it's the most vital part of a process because it makes it get to fruition, right? We're getting from A to Z. You know, when we get it placed with the lender, I think we're only at letter F or G. We're not even close to getting through this process yet. It's deciphering all the paperwork that's needed by the lender. It is deciphering all those other reports, the third-party reports, title reports, appraisals, environmentals, all the things that go into that, which, you know, those third parties need information to be able to complete their job. You know, getting the insurance taken care of, reviewing the settlement statement, all these little things, making sure that you have your organizational docs. Oh, you don't have an operating agreement. Lydia assists with those. Those things that people go, why do I need that? Why do I need to do that? Well, here's why we need, you know, having somebody that's been on that banking side goes, yeah, this is why they need this. They need to check this box off internally, right? They're trying to do those things. And the bank's adhering to their policies, procedures. They're also adhering to regulators that are requiring things in files. And Lydia's been through those examinations. I have too. Like we understand what it goes in, why the lender's asking for these things. So I think having
Mhm.
a processor who understands that it can explain it back to a client. I think one good thing that you do too that we try to do different is we don't try to do the 30 emails, right? Back and forth, back and forth. Lydia's like, can I just call them and get this answered? I'm like, Lydia, go ahead and call them,
Yes,
please.
please.
Just call. Lydia's on text messages with clients because some people like text messages, calls, emails. They hit all the channels of communication based on what the end user likes. And I think that's where Lydia likes to go. I can get this answer in 2 seconds instead of a 45 email, those emails back and forth. And lenders will do that. They'll email back and forth. You're like, well, they just need that. Okay, let me pick up the phone.
Well, and you always talk about it, Matt, of like when a lender sends us a question, if we don't get the question back to them quick, then it goes back on their back burner. And so, like Lydia going and calling the client to get the answer for them so that we can get back to the lender and get their answer solved so that we keep moving through the process is why our loans close faster. A lot of times it's like the lender will send an email, we'll send it to clients. If we don't get a hold of them quickly, it might take a week, and then the client's like, why is this all taking longer? Well, because you didn't get back to us with an answer quickly, and because we played the telephone game 4 times. And that's where, like, let us help you and let us help manage that with the lender, because that's where we can keep things moving.
Yeah,
That's where we
yeah.
save a
And
lot of time.
we've got clients that are very, very busy. They
Yeah.
can't check their emails 8 to 5. So that's where we come in. If we've got to get on the call at 7 in the morning, then that's what we do. Or late in the evenings, if that's what needs to be done, that's where we are, and we can get it taken care of at that point, and just keep it moving and keeping that in front of them. If we need something, hey, I'm still needing this,
Keeping them
just
on
kind of help
track,
a little
even if it's their
nudges.
CPA, maybe. And sometimes CPAs, I mean, especially right now, this time of year, they're all very busy. But when we have a request and if maybe they didn't understand that this is actually holding up the loan, that's where like we'll
Mm-hmm.
have those conversations. How can we get a quick version of it? Maybe it's not the final, it doesn't have to be final financials, but give us what we need so that we can keep this moving forward. And so that the client doesn't feel like, well, I'm just helpless. I can't get it from my CPA and the lender needs it. We try to get involved where we can. Even if we can't solve the problem, we try to help bring everybody to the table so that we can solve it together.
Again, without processing, your loan a loan doesn't get completed, right? In the commercial world especially, and being there for your clients, again, the advocate is what Lydia is. And she's in contact with all of our clients. She's in contact with our lenders, all the third parties involved. She is the glue that keeps it going. It helps with the underwriting up front, as Lydia mentioned. We do a lot of stuff up front that makes Lydia's job easier, but she's the person that's following up, keeping the
Mm-hmm.
people going forward, right? She's that mother hen in the group. She's raised a
Herding
couple
the
kids on her.
cats.
She's got a couple kids on her own now, grandkids, and helping keeping everybody moving forward. And that's the role that she's always played in her previous careers and personal life, and here too. Is just we got to keep everybody moving forward. Keeps me organized, tells me what I need to do every day, how I need to assist her, what I need to do for a client, and then vice versa. I'm like, hey, Lydia, can you just handle this? Boom, takes care of those little things for clients. Is the clients don't realize the value add and time savings that a processor brings to the table until they go through the process. And when they go through the process, they're reaching out to Lydia more often. They're reaching out to me. Like, I called Lydia. I'm like, oh, okay, you took care of it. Cool. I'm like, good.
Oh yeah.
Thanks, man. I got other things to do. So, yes, I think the processing does not get enough credit out there for how valuable it is for a client and how valuable it is back for the lender too, of having somebody that knows their side of the table, understands how to do it. I'll hit on documentation one last time. The one we do a lot of SBA lending, and
Oh
learned
yeah.
she has learned all those SBA documentation, understands it all. She She got to learn really in one of her first deals with us. She got to go through the grunt of it on an SBA deal and every single nuance, but it helped her perfect that for all the other SBA deals that we've been doing. So the SBA documentation, I'm not going to lie to anybody, it's
Ridiculous.
quite extensive. It's quite extensive what they're asking
Yeah.
for. But when you actually get into, you're like, this is what they need. Okay, this is not bad. You know how to complete it after a while, and you know how to take care of your clients because a lot of people walk away from SBA because they don't want to deal with the extra nuance that comes with getting that loan. You're like, I will take if this is better for you financially, let me take that burden off your plate and we'll make the SBA process less onerous on you. And they realize they're like, oh, that wasn't too bad, you know.
You got to have your ducks in a row, but it's you're going to have to spend that time doing the paperwork, and that's where we can really help make
Yeah.
that process easier.
The client will look
Yeah.
at it and go, where do I start? What do I do? Oh my God. That's why we have a
Mhm.
processor that will take all that and you're like, you see this line down here? Just sign. You see that? Just initial. Those are the few things we need from you. Don't need much, guys. Trying to make your life easier because you are out there doing things. Clients are out there either working 9 to 5, running their business, trying to find more investment properties, vacation. I don't care what they're doing, but they don't want to be doing this. And that's where the
No,
processing side comes in and try to get people through that process a lot faster. And it's speed is not the ultimate goal. It is getting the deal closed accurately in the way the client wants it and in time and with the right structure and loan product that they need at that time. But we try to handle it all the way through by the different phases of our process. And people always forget about the processing end when they get a loan. Oh, cool, got a loan interested. That's when the grunt work starts, guys. That's when the rubber hits the road. That's when that deal actually goes from F or G all the way to Z. It's going through the rest of the steps, the underwriting, the third parties, just the paperwork for know your customer, all these little nuances that are out there in the lending world. The processor here, Lydia, handles all that. She handles all that stuff so we can make that a smoother transaction for the client and for the
so
lender.
true.
I think I would like my very first deal SBA, and I'm not kidding you, there was probably 20 documents. It was overwhelming for me, and it's not my loan per se, but as I got through them and understanding them now, I think it would totally scare me away if I was the one being told to just complete these documents. If you
Oh
answer
yeah,
a question wrong, is it gonna be denied or something? But I think that's a huge piece that we can offer to the client. It's okay. These are normal, and they repeat a lot of the questions are just repeat, repeat, repeat. But
Right. Didn't we ask that question on the other application? Yeah, it's the same stupid thing. Just re-answer it.
just has got to be
yeah,
put a couple different times. I
Yeah.
was thinking about you were talking, Matt, about our processing and how we go about that whole process, and it kind of was another aha for me of that's something that I think a lot of brokers don't focus on nearly as much. They may find a lender and they may just send it off to the lender, but they're not putting together the same level of package organization, back and forth with the lender, with the client, participating and filling out all of that stuff for the clients. That's what I feel like really separates us from a lot of brokers. I think a lot of brokers take something and they send it out to a bunch of lenders and hope they're interested. And if they're interested, then they don't really get involved. The lender closes it and the loan does through whatever process the lender has. We don't let that happen. We dictate it by our process, melding with whatever the lender's process is. But we are like
Mhm.
championing it. We're driving the wagon. We're leading it all so that we don't let it get off the tracks. We don't let it go down a path where we can't save it. And even if we may need to pivot lenders because we've stayed so involved throughout that, we can pivot, we can move, we have lots of options. And that's where our clients are getting not just a loan, but they're getting an advisor that's going to be there from beginning to end to post closing to their next deal, whatever. They're getting more than just a deal, they're getting a relationship.
So yeah, I'm glad you brought up one thing, Ben, is pivoting to another lender. Literally yesterday, that had to happen to us. A deal where the appraisals should have been back by now. This deal should be approved already. The lender came up with something, and they're drawing the line in the sand. They're requiring a reviewed financials, which is completely insane on this transaction and this transaction size. And we had to quickly pivot over for our client. We have all the third party reports going to be in. We're having to pivot as quick as possible to save this deal for our client, because if they would have done this on their own with that lender, and then have to regroup to go somewhere else, they would be dead in the water. And
Yeah.
by processing and having everything organized already, and even all the paperwork and everything that was requested by the original lender, we have all that information ready to go to the next lender. So it makes the next lender's job that much faster and that much easier is the ultimate call. We don't like to do this, but we're able to do this. And we always learn from it. We always get better because of this. Things just happen, guys. Did
Yeah.
we choose the wrong lender? It was the right lender for the client because of their structure, their rate, and everything. But sometimes if they can't get it done, it doesn't matter how great their rate and structure was.
No.
It's you got to get the deal done. You got to get it done on time, and sometimes you got to pivot and do those things. And if you're a client doing it on your own, that could be very demoralizing, very frustrating. That we're able to do that in a flip of a button. Happened yesterday. It's already out the lender's hands, full package, ready to move on and get this deal closed in the time that we need it to.
You're so right, Matt. Most people would be dead in the water if that happened to them. And if it's only because you have a relationship with a team like us and that can pivot, that has pivoted loans in the middle of a deal. I mean, we've been fired by clients saying, "Hey, we have our own loan. We don't need you to get it anymore." And we said, "Cool." We ended up still closing loan because the client had to come back to us and had to trust us because their other option that they tried to do on their own didn't work. Not saying that clients can't do it on their own, but we were so focused on taking care of the client and taking care of their ultimate goal of getting them their purchase completed. And we didn't just take their you're fired as a you're fired. We took it as we'll step on the back burner, but we'll keep everything going so that if you do come back to us, we can save the day. And that's what happens. So like that's what we're here to do for our clients is not just to make money. We're here to get their goals accomplished. And if we do that, we make money down the way.
Guys, it's been a great podcast. It's great to learn a little bit more what goes behind the scenes on a deal, which is always critical, guys. Without that, you kind of don't know all the work that a broker puts into it and the value add that a broker brings to the table. And I think knowing more of that helps you guys go. These processes are daunting. It's not for the faint of heart. It's an
Mm-hmm.
investment. You're buying some kind of commercial related asset, either a business or a property or refinancing, whatever it may be. You're constructing. You're doing something that is an investment. Having that advisor along the way to help assist you in your ultimate goals and go through the work with you is
Mm-hmm.
but we're here for you. We got the process dialed in, and we'll continue to dial it in on a regular basis to get better at our craft. This is what we do all day long. So we enjoy the process. We enjoy Lydia on our team now. It's made our life a lot easier because I had to do a step back and look at our company about a year ago and go, what do we need different? What do we need to do better? What what's my skill sets? What's not my skill sets? What's the rest, underwriters, sales teams, what's all of our skill sets? Where do we need to fill that hole to grow and do bigger and be better for our clients and service them better? And that's where the processing side came into play. And it has made us better and stronger and be able to assist our clients better along the way.
Thank you all
And
for joining us today. Any final
yes,
words?
Thank you for the opportunity to
We ask you
chat.
guys all to like, follow, share, comment, engage with us. If you have questions, things that you would like us to cover in the future, leave them in the comments. And we look forward to seeing you guys on the next episode.
thank you guys. Have a good one.
Thank
Take
you.
care.